All right, counting down. All right, there we are. Hey, Vinyl Conversations. Welcome to another edition. It's Sunday. How's everyone doing?
How y'all
It's
out
Father's
there?
Day, so definitely shout out to all the fathers that are in the group joining us today.
Happy Father's Day
So,
to all of y'all.
yeah, happy Father's Day. Right. So, Vinyl Conversations. This is the group where we talk about specific tracks, whether it's vinyl, CDs, live streams, whatever it is. We talk about the lyrics and the specific song, the track. So, I'm your host, Latifa, and then that's your other host over there, Tamarisha. Everybody say hi. All right. So we gotta get the disclaimer stuff out of the way. We do not own the rights to any of this music. It's for educational entertainment purposes only. Facebook, we do not own the rights.
I'ma say it. We do not own the rights to any of this music. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Facebook don't shut us down.
Yeah, just don't mute us, please.
Don't
Y'all
mute
try
it.
to do that before. Don't mute the information, okay?
We appreciate Facebook.
All right, so today we got our special guest joining us. We're just gonna bring them into the stream. Please welcome R&B artist Garfield Bright of the group Shai to Vinyl Conversations.
Yay!
Yay! Hey there! Thanks for
What's
joining us
good?
today.
What's happening? What's happening? How's
Everybody's
everything
in
out
the
there?
group clapping there.
Right,
We
right.
good?
Clapping. I see this
Okay,
clapping.
clapping.
I see how it's about to go already. It's gonna
H.
be a little bit of
All right.
fun.
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna play a little bit of the song, a little bit of like maybe under a minute, and then we're gonna get into the lyrics.
Okay.
So here we go. What is that thing to make you cry this time? Well, I will make your eyes, and I will be like your light. I see his hand walking when you're in pain. That's part of being a friend. But this is a special case. I held my feelings back because of him. And now I'm exceeding. I made a big mistake.
Hey,
All
all right.
right.
Ladies, I end up singing. You need a backup singer? I'm mad that we gotta read the lyrics.
Oh, that's
Can I just
crazy.
sing the lyrics? Can I sing the lyrics first, guys? I just want to be like, you know what I
That
mean?
night,
That
that night
song.
was so wild.
Listen, we gonna get into how wild it was. Just believe
Look,
that,
that part.
um, guys. This is
Look, why the head go back?
this is Shy Comforter. This is what we're gonna go over. Um, this is again one we only deal in classics here, so that's definitely a classic. I really just want to
Appreciate that.
start singing. After this, I'm gonna have to play that song and do my own karaoke session because I just felt some type of way, like yeah, that was a jam. Like he made a big mistake. Okay, so I'm gonna start and go ahead and go into the first the first verse.
The first section. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about it and then we're gonna do a little bit of interpreting.
Okay.
Okay. So it says, "Talk to me, baby. I'm listening. Lay
Yeah.
down and tell me what's on your mind. What exactly did he do to make you cry this time?" It says, "Well, I will be your comforter. I will make it right. He cast a shadow on your heart, and I will bring you back your light." So
Wow.
let's go back.
Wow.
Let's go back. So first of all, this is my opinion on Comforter just a little bit. It's
Okay.
like that girl that's in these things with her guy, and she has this friend that she goes and talks to, and you know what I mean. He's more than willing to help her out in her time of need because you like lay down and tell me what's on your mind. So she comes in the
Hey,
door. What?
why? It could. They could have been friends.
So where you laying down at? On the couch? That's a therapist? So your
Right.
friend got a
On the couch.
PhD. No, I'm
On
not
the
going with
couch.
that, cuz. I'm not going with that.
On the
Lay
couch.
down and tell me what's on your mind. Okay. Lay down
Hey,
on
Cam, she could
the
have had a
couch.
headache. She
Okay.
could have had a headache.
So she can lay down on the couch or in the bed. We're gonna go on the couch for now because she comes in the door and she's upset and you tell her go ahead and lay down on your nice soft leather couch, you know what I mean, with the puffy pillows. You know what I mean? So you tell her to lay down and tell you what's on her mind, right? And then you want to know what he did to make you cry. So in this song, first of all, I want to know, is this something that you wrote or that you felt or you guys wrote or felt? Like, how did this come about before I get in too far?
Well, you can go as far as you can get.
Oh, I will, sir.
Carl wrote this particular joint right here. This is something that he and Darnell had before I even joined the group. This stuff before we even had a record deal. We had "If I Ever Fall in Love," "Comforter," and "Baby I'm Yours" was already songs that were like in our rotation of songs that we did a cappella or with the accompaniment of a piano only. We didn't have tracks to them yet, so we were doing them a cappella ish. And those are like our practice songs. So Carl, when I got to the group, those three songs had already been written. So the other body of work we did once we got our record deal, but those were three that came beforehand, which came in handy because MCA made us do our album in 2 weeks. So luckily we had songs that ended up being
2 weeks.
Yeah, we did an album in 2 weeks because they didn't want to sell just a single "If I Ever" for $9. You know, back then you could buy a cassette single for $9.
Yeah.
We wanted to be able to sell a unit for $20, so they needed some other stuff with that, like, you know. So they was like, just
2 weeks. That's a lot of pressure. How old were y'all?
We were right out of college, so we were like 20, 21. 22,
wow.
in that age group.
And y'all did it in 2 weeks. That's
because we already had those three songs, which kind of like "If I Ever," "Comforter," and "Baby I'm Yours" were the three singles that got released from the album, and so they were all in the top 10.
Billboard,
Billboard and stuff like that. So they were safe to say those are hits. And,
so somebody else wrote them. Okay.
Well, Carl's in the group, so he wrote the songs.
I mean, no, but okay. He wrote. I get it. He wrote it. In the group, but you on the show, so I want to know. If
I'm singing it, so I had to interpret it. I had to feel that.
So did you, okay? So in your interpretation, has this ever happened even after you sang the song? Have you ever had a girl come over like, I'm so upset, you know? You're like, come over, girl. Like, what do you do this time?
For some reason, I could never be in the role of the comforter in real life. Like, you know, like I don't know, maybe I don't know the way girls interacted with me. To be that guy that could be on the side, that could, like, you know, be like, look, baby, you can just let me know anytime, you know, I'll be over here.
You're not side.
I know guys like that though. I know guys that are just naturally that guy, like they just friends and they just good people and they get all the confidence in the world, the trust in the world. And but that phenomenon, like Bobby Womack, I wish he didn't trust me so much. Like that's been a thing. You know what I mean? I was just never able to be that guy to be the comforter. Like
those guys are the friends.
The guy that somebody, you know, girl is going to get comfort because of somebody pissed the girl off and she's like going to the home. You know what I'm saying? So you know.
So Carl was experiencing this or something. Since you said he wrote it, he was experiencing that.
Carl was just a hell of a good writer. So he looked at soap operas. He listened to country music.
Oh, okay.
And got a lot of inspiration because those are the best plots. And so I imagine that. But you know what? No, let me retract that. Carl might have actually went through something like that because, you know, we were in college at the time.
This is very specific.
You know, we were at Howard, so, you know, we were experiencing a lot of, like, you know, in that closed environment, that structured environment, female-male relationships, you know, at that age and stuff, you get to try a lot of times to get it right. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. You had a lot of friends in college. Like that's one of those. oh, he's my tutor, or he just in class, we just studying together, and you start spilling all that information.
Teachable moments, man. Teachable moments. You know, I don't know what happened, so I can maybe drop a gem that might direct you.
Just a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, just a little something.
The gem might come with. I mean that gem of knowledge might come with a little laying on my couch.
You might have a cherry on top. You know what I mean? It might be a cherry on top. You know,
look, she could have been tired. She was tired. She's been up all night crying.
She was tired. She was up all night crying, and you offered.
I recognized the pain. I was like, "You lay down, love. You need some rest." Like talking about
lay down.
I'll be over here on the couch, with my feet kicked up, watching some cable, some Netflix. But like talking about it, I'll turn it down. I listen. You let me know. It's no pressure. No pressure. It's not like the boy.
No pressure. No
pressure. And if you need some little, I got some food. I got some strawberries in the kitchen. Just let me know.
You got strawberries. Please, sir, I'm not believing that you're not that dude no more. Okay, we just gonna move on. Let's see what they're saying in the group real quick, because I feel like you're not telling me what's your sign. You lying to me, ain't you?
I'm a Libra.
A Libra. So you weigh sins and forgiveness. You this is a forgiveness type of moment. I'm sorry.
I can't call it. I'm gonna have to let you call it. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody saying that the guy is way more than willing, and then somebody's like, backseat of my Jeep. Let's swing an episode.
That's LL. Yeah.
Listen, backseat of my Jeep when you need comforting, girl. You know what's about to happen. Lay down in the backseat of my Jeep. Tell me what he did. No, that don't work. Those two don't go together.
My RV.
Already know.
Nah. Somebody said we see you in the SWV week video. Spill it.
Oh yeah, that happened so organically. So at the time I was dating Coco.
For what video though? You gotta say
week.
Okay.
Week. Yeah.
Oh, she did say week. Okay, so you was dating Coco.
Dating Coco, and that song was about to come up, and I was with him one day when they went to go meet with Lionel Martin, who directed it, and he was like, "Yo, you doing anything like next whatever week?" Because they, the way they had the video, they needed another lead man, and unbeknownst to me, they had a lot of like known cats that were out at that time in the video. Like my man from Troop was in there, Chris Latimer, who did the African American Alliance with all the black college sweatshirts with the hoodies, the HBCU sweatshirts. That my man was in there. We always had like a bathroom scene, like it was like some mafia stuff, and he was all with the towels on. Anyway, but me and her was dating, so I didn't tell the label. I just did it, and I,
oh wow,
I got in trouble on the low about it.
Yeah.
I ain't clear it, but I was, she was my girl, and I was 22. You want to do a video?
Right.
I did a video, whatever. We did it, and the plot of it was kind of cool. It was like me against her. She had a girl fighter. I had a girl boxer, and they were in a ring, and we were like gambling on who was going to win. And, her girl, of course, it was their video. Her girl beat my girl and all that. I was like some little mafia don sitting in the front row, like, just looking at my investment, see what it was going to do, and it lost. I had to eat crow, walk out the joint. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was one of the dopest.
Yeah, that's a classic video.
Yeah, we trying to get her on here too. Listen, we're trying to get her on here so we can talk about that, and then we'll bring you up again. You feel me?
She wasn't playing or nothing. It just really happened like on the spur of the moment. This place, time, situation. You're on. Go. Let's do it.
That's cool. All right, let's get into the second verse before we get too far off task. Because I can do that.
Yeah.
Come in.
Go ahead.
It says, come in. I see he hurt you again. When you're in pain, I'm in pain. That's part of being a friend. But in this special case, I held my feelings back because of him. And now I see it more than ever. I made a very big mistake. I don't mean to disregard your feelings, but I think he's a fool. He don't know how sensitive you are, and baby, that just ain't cool. I'm glad I can be there for you when you need a helping hand. Deep inside my heart from the start, I knew I should have been your man.
Oh, see, look.
That couch.
Look.
What? That couch looking more like the bed. Just want to say.
Clearly, my man had some feelings that he was suppressing.
Really?
He was willing to be in the wings because he knew at that opportune moment, at some perfect moment, he could reveal the reveal of all revealed.
Say he don't.
Right. So
I'm in love with you.
So they were friends. They were friends first.
They were
They
definitely
were
friends
friends.
first. That was always our consistent theme. Like it started off with, if I ever was always make sure she's a friend. Comfort, it was coming from an implied, like they must have had kind of a cool kick it relationship.
Absolutely. Because he says when you're in pain, I'm in pain, and that's part of being a friend.
Yeah.
And that could be male and male friends, female and free, you know what I mean? Female
But
friends.
then he goes on to say after that, but this is a special case.
I was just elaborating on him feeling the pain.
I got a little something more invested in this one, you know what I mean? I got a little something extra for this particular situation.
Okay. Well, let me.
You know what I mean? On the top.
So you got a little something extra. Tell
I
us
held my feelings back because of him. Like I've been feeling,
and that's what friends do. He was respecting the situation.
And that's what she said.
He was respecting the situation.
Respect your friend's situation, no matter.
Deep inside my heart from the start.
I knew I could have been your man.
Did you see the 5 heartbeats?
Yep.
Yes.
So you remember the dude, the Shai brother Leon, whatever, and then when my boy was about to marry Shorty, he was like, "Yo, you can't marry him," you know.
Right.
Nobody, the way they built the movie, you never knew why he was doing it like that because they never showed them together. Nothing. They kind of, and then you find out this whole thing going on. Like he loved her, and it was like, "Yo, what?"
Yeah. And you know what? The crazy thing is, more often than not, there's a lot of relationships out there like that.
Well, look at Jermaine Jackson and his brother. He married his brother's ex girl. Like,
wait, what?
Yeah, Oh, I'm not even plugged into the scene. I just happen to just know this because I love the Jacksons, and so I just heard this and it bugged me out. But him and one of the brothers, I think the young one that could always dance good. I think it's his girl. But
Jermaine, wow.
And Jermaine, like they switched. One ended up with the other one's wife, and then had more kids. Like it is wild business.
Listen, you can't control who you love, and
that part.
It's your brother's girl or your best friend's girl. You know what I mean?
And they still brothers. I mean, I guess they understood what you just said. Like, yo, if it just be that way, that's just.
And like I said, there's a lot of relationships. There's a lot of men out there and women holding back from like, man, like you know what I mean. I think I'll be a good fit for this girl's husband or boyfriend more than she would. There's dudes out there like, man, I wish because I know what this dude is doing behind the scenes. Like this dude is disrespecting her, and you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of men out there that see their friends doing good women that way and be like, man, if that was my woman.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case all over the place. From both genders, both sides of the coin.
That's what I'm saying, in both sides, because there are women out there that do,
But seeing this right here, he was respecting the fact that they were friends and that she had a guy. So he was just being there as, like the song is, as a comforter.
Yeah. He just had to let her know, though, look, it should have been me, baby. You would have been.
He saw that window. He saw the window that was open, and he took the opportunity.
Problems if it was me, love. I just want to FYI you that one.
With a heart.
Yeah, that's all that was. I just want you to understand that, but I'm gonna go back to my place, and I'm still, take care.
He says, "I don't mean to disregard your feelings, but I think that he's a fool."
Yeah, I don't want to dish him, man. You know what I
mean? He doesn't know how sensitive you are, and that
ain't cool.
You know what I mean? So again, this dude has a really good woman. She has a really good heart, and I done fell in love with her heart, and I know what it's about, but he ain't there. So let me go ahead and slide in and be like, "Girl, lay your head."
But see, but look, and he probably knows all that because they're good friends. Like you have to be, start off like that.
Or that's her study partner in college, and they sit back and study.
Here you go.
Here you go. You don't gotta be that man's friend. He don't gotta know that man at all. All she has to do is tell her side of the story. There's two sides.
The study partner is killing me softly over here. The study partner theory. That one right there. That's not like one of your lyrics. You might be a writer.
That's neither here nor there. I was just saying.
Look.
Not the song. Anyway.
Okay, so give us some backstory to how Shai formed and how you guys developed the name and all that stuff for the viewers that don't know.
Okay, well, we all came out of Howard University. The other three guys were all Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity members. I was not, but Darnell and myself were roommates freshman year. And so me and D, when we first came in at 17 years old, Darnell was coming from, remember Joe Clark and Lean on Me and all that? Darnell went to that high school. Joe Clark was actually his principal, like, and they had the marching band in the country for high schoolers. And Darnell was one of the dope trumpet players. They got a full scholarship trumpet. Howard March. He was making up the dance stuff from Howard Marshall band as a freshman, like on some Nick Cannon, like drumline type. He was like a little prodigy coming in Patterson, New Jersey, just urban little brother. But he was my roommate. And his dad was a social worker at that school. And he was the manager of the group that in the movie was singing a little Fairy Side. Like he was the manager of the group, which was Riff. And so we got the benefit of knowing Riff's songs before they came out. And so Darnell would be sharing them with me. We'd be in our little room, whatever, our dorm room. And it was a girl dorm adjacent to us. So then once we would learn some of these songs, we would go outside in the alleyway and on a Friday night, being young and just drinking whatever we could drink at that time. Looked up and started singing in harmony and stuff. Girls was coming out on their balconies and stuff, looking at us, sing to them, like, doo-wop to them. And so, we always had this kind of like musical like feel to it. And we had a third roommate named Antonio, who was a saxophone player, who was a prodigy himself. He was like one of the dopest things in the jazz band. So the three of us, man, we started like kind of this it's cool to do music thing with the ladies. And then so Darnell and I split up. I went into another, started doing I ran for office, did just in a different trajectory, but he was still my boy. He ended up doing the Alpha thing, and then we kind of met back up. They were playing. We met back up. It was a semester where I basically was not in Howard no more, but I still had my dorm room because I had gotten married real young, and my dad claimed me on his taxes, and how all my financial aid from Howard evaporated because he claimed me. They took the money away because he made too much, and virtually I still had my housing, but I didn't have any classes. So I'm just hanging with D, going to the Fine Arts Building every day.
Wow.
We had a temp job, but they would call you up so often. So in the time that they didn't call you, I'm with D in the Fine Arts Building with the other two alphas down there rehearsing. They doing their musical rehearsal. I'm not rehearsing nothing. I'm sitting back watching. It's 5 of them. The big talent show is coming up at Howard. It's like the dog on Apollo. And everybody gets booed at it, no matter how good you are, because it's full of football players who want to turn up and just boo you. And then the New York crowd, recreate the Apollo. They want to boo you just because they just want to make that happen that night. They just want to
ain't Apollo. I get it.
The artists coming through there rocking, or like Eric Roberson came through there.
Yeah, we just had Eric on.
Yeah, you know how dope Eric. Come on, man, the boy is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They booed him just because they just wanted to boo him, not because he was killing Pretty Brown Eyes. Then this dude Tracy D came up there. He had a dope rhyme called "Creeping Every Weekend" about dorm life. It's crazy. Sean Allen, who ended up being signed at this group called Pure Soul, ended up being signed. Debbie Allen's niece, she was up there blowing. They booed her. And then the next group was Shai. But the thing before we got up there, it was 4 alphas that was in that group at the time, Darnell's group. And I was just hanging with him, coming to his rehearsals. Well, 2 of them kind of quit right before that show. So they needed so it was only 3 of them, and they were used to doing 4-part harmony and stuff like that, sometimes 5. So I was just hanging around for like 2 weeks, just soaking in everything. And he was like, yo, Jay, I know you know the bass parts. I know you know the joints, man. I was like, I'll give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't scared of no class or nothing like that. So I did absorb it. So they basically pledged me for the last week to get the harmonies and do all that. And what we did was when we entered the show, we tried to design a show that we wouldn't get booed. So we came out to that 10, 9, 8.
Oh, wow.
4, 3, 2, 1.
That song.
So we slickly slid into a Boys II Men medley. Boys II Men was hot right then. They always been hot, but that was when they first started. And so the crowd was rocking to us do that. We went right into Please Don't Go Away, slowly. We was going into it. And people was, okay, but I get caught up, ooh, you know what I'm saying? They was all into it. And in my mind, all I was thinking was like, wait, this is the 3rd song. We didn't get booed yet. We only got 1 more left. We're going to make it out alive. And I'm bobbing my head like I'm feeling it, which I was, but all I was thinking about is not getting booed. And so the next song, we finally finished it. We killed it. Didn't get booed. Jetted off the stage. Victory, right? And then we basically had like an encore from this rowdy crowd. They wanted to hear more. So we was like, what the hell we going to sing? We don't even know. We ain't got no more Boys II Men songs. Like, And that was our only show, believe it or not. Before we got signed, we only did that one show. That was the only show we ever did, right? And so we was on stage like, well, we got all our songs, you know, shit, well, let's do If I Ever, you know what I'm saying? All right, it's acapella, you know, you don't take nothing else. We don't need no track and nothing like that. Okay, cool. So they opened the curtains up and it was woo, da doo 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 doo. And then people's kind of like, you know how when people first hear something and they kind of hesitantly like kind of rooting for it, they kind of slow, the eyes are squinting, but they're like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Then when the hook came and done, it was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like big burly football dudes was up like this, you know what I'm saying? When the next chorus came around, after, you know, my, all that went past, boom, boom, boom. You know, if I say that I could be your one and on, promise, all that went, and then when the hook came back again, the whole crowd was singing it with us, like they knew it already.
Wow.
We was like, wow, in our own skin, like, wow, you know what I'm saying? We got more response from that than the covers we were doing. And so right there on stage, to answer your question, that night, right as soon as they closed the curtains after that little encore, we was like, yo, y'all want to try to get a record deal? You know, you know what I mean? People reacting like, we should be nice on the radio, right? In a naivety, that's how we was thinking. And we went to the New York and went down the Avenues of Americas. It got all the record labels on it, and we auditioned and did all stuff. They was dissing us. They was smoking cigarettes on the phone while we were singing If I Ever and all that. So they had questions about it being a cappella, you know, program directors playing it because it didn't have a beat or a tempo. But we were like, yo, you know, Cooley Harmony came out with Boys II Men singing that. That's a cappella, you know, but our joint was original, of course. And it wasn't like the Cooley Harmony was like known by people already. So it was safer to play that one because people understood. But our joint was an original. Nobody knew it. Would it work? And the labels didn't think so. So luckily, when we came back from that New York trip, we weren't discouraged. Back in the day, the radio stations used to challenge the community, like pull up in a van and say, we're going to play softball against y'all best team. What? And, you know, they'll be playing. They have a whole mobile radio unit there. So we rocked at one of those and gave him my little cassette. And this dude named Paco Lopez played it and was like, yo, what is this? This is dope. And then they ended up playing it on WPGC radio station, which was like a major P1 radio station where other stations used to copy their playlist. And they had sister stations around the country. And when they started playing it, we started charting before we was even signed.
Oh, wow.
And so that kind of gave us like leverage. And then that song started blowing up. And then it blew up to a point where it became like number one in on the station, like in terms of like likes. Because back then people could call in and actually express likes. Now it's controlled by corporate, you know, Radio One type of corporations, that consulting firms and stuff. But back then it was people.
So actually the people, the culture got the word out in the song.
They were always our best. Like we were never like hyped up by a label. Label actually never really put a lot of promotional dollars in this at all. But so we got signed off the strength of it was already charting. So the label's number one job is to get you radio airplay so you can chart back in those days. And we were already kind of like doing that on our own with that one song. Had we known what people know today and had social media been around today, we could have like said F the label.
Right.
We already had the people and we already had the answer radio. We could have just did it independent had we known then. I mean, now what we know then. I mean, then what we knew now, yeah. And you know, MCA signed us to a deal, and you know, we had to fight to be able to be like us not knowing the industry. Immediately, they wanted to push us to pop radio because that's the bigger audience. That's who buys albums according to the demographical information. You know, blacks don't buy records. White people did, so they want to push us to the white radio. Hopefully, we can cross over pop, get their airplay, and get white sales. But we were Howard kids, and we started noticing the trend of not ever going to the black radio stations in these cities. And we were like, "Hold up, dude." You know what I mean? The radio stations was kind of mad at us individually because they weren't looking at us like some kids that just signed a record deal and people are guiding them around and making these decisions. They looked at it as, we're doing this. We are not coming to the radio. Like we didn't know better yet. But when we started feeling that and it started affecting our airplay and we like finally realized what was going on, we were like, nah, we can't go out bad like that. We from Howard, man. We got a whole tradition to hold up, you know, of that. We're not selling out. So we started making that happen, and that's when everything started finally falling into place. But
right, because we was out there buying tapes.
Comforter was actually not supposed to ever come out, y'all.
Why not?
Because let me tell you, If I Ever did what they wanted to do, which it crossed over to the pop audience, which without being necessarily a pop song, it was just a good song. It was a cappella, so it was just some different stuff. But pop radio loved it and black radio loved it.
Right.
So they wanted to come out next to maximize their bottom line with Baby I'm Yours because they felt that was more pop. And we were like, nah, the streets are telling us that they love Comforter. You know, they like that F joint is dope, but they like feeling confident. The marketplace is telling us at these promotional shows that we're doing that, yo, Comforter, that's my joint. So I know if we drop Comforter next, it's gonna blow up. And the label was basically like, y'all, look, let the people who know the industry handle the business. Y'all just basically sing. And we were like, nah, I'm telling you, man, Comforter is the joint. And then we gave them this whole spiel. We had called a meeting. We sat down and it was like, look, man, we from Howard, man. Y'all pushing us to the white radio. We let it be known how we was feeling about it. And that Comforter would solidify our black base that we seemingly were alienating unbeknownst to us at the time. And that would kind of set things straight. Like, y'all do us this solid. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, we can't do that to our base. We be like college students. Like, come on, what's up? And so they basically want to teach us a lesson. So they were like, okay, show you what it is. They put Comforter out and then they paid the minimal amount for the video. They didn't put really any promotional dollars at the radio for the program directors, just the bare minimum. And it's still just off the strength of the streets and the urban market loving it, black radio embracing it and stuff like that. It still went gold out the gate, right? If they had to put any kind of push behind it, it would have been platinum,
right?
Because the black community loved Comforter. So then, baby,
so it didn't go double platinum.
No, Comforter, just the single by itself, not the album, the single Comforter. And then so the single Baby I'm Yours comes out with all the bells and whistles. See, I love Baby I'm Yours before we had to do the track. The label wanted us to make a real pop track to it with that all that stuff in there. I didn't like it. Baby I'm Yours, I didn't really like that song the way it came out. I liked it because if you really listen to it, when we first had it a cappella with piano accompaniment only, the chords are Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. That song is Let's Get It On, basically. If you listen to it.
What? Oh, wow.
Let's get it on. That's Let's Get It On. But baby, I'm yours. If you want me, let's get it on. It's the same. It's the same.
It is really, you're right. It's a lot more pop.
And more a cappella, which is just the piano and the soulful piano chords. It felt blacker. It felt more soulful. I felt it. But then as soon as we put that, you know, but people loved it. I couldn't hate on it.
It was still a nice track.
I loved it. And then we were at Howard, you know, we went back to Howard and did our video and got girls from Howard to be in our video and stuff like that. But yeah, but they put all this money behind Comforter. I mean, Baby I'm Yours, and it just went gold like how Comforter did, like with nothing behind it. And both of them started in the top 10, of course.
I definitely like Comforter better than Baby I'm Yours.
Yeah. But if you had heard the original, how we used to really, really do it before the whatever happened to it, because you know we produced all of our own stuff, but the label kind of put a little pressure on us to make us do it a certain kind of way, whatever. In the little 2 weeks they gave us, you know.
I mean, I love Comforter. Baby I'm Yours, like you said, it does have that. You know what I mean? We used to listen to that on the bus, you know, going to school because you know I was still in the 90s. I was young. Yeah. So I was still.
Man, I just heard the original way we used to sing.
They're all dope tracks.
Well, this one was almost a cappella the way we did "Baby I'm Yours." It was just harmonies, and then it was just a real piano, not a synthesizer, but an actual piano doing them. Boom, boom, like it just had a soulful church feeling. Like it was way different, but you know.
Yeah. I mean,
have you guys ever thought about releasing the original?
The original we never recorded that. That was just something we used to sing and stand around the piano. Practice.
Never. Oh, okay.
That was our practice song. So when we signed to a record deal, we needed songs. So we just took the practice songs and just put a track up under them. You know, like you know, but they became like hits. You know, those was really just songs to practice our harmonies and practice holding out long notes and do stuff like practice our vocal skills. We had no idea those would be like singles or anything like that. We would just, you know.
So I'm not gonna go over the third.
Yeah, because
that one is just really hooks, and that's when the song you just really just feeling yourself. By that time, you just like, don't listen. I don't mean it this regard. You start getting like
going in,
like you start going in, like
going in. Like this is my last chance.
Yeah, he meant that. He was secretly, you know.
Like it was like you really just gotta be like, man, like this is it.
I bring back the light, baby. I bring back your light.
bring home what he said. You know what I mean? I don't mean to disrespect the feeling. Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah, that was
big
fun.
big mistake part is like, wow, you know what? You did make a big mistake. He's right. You right. He did. He did make a mistake. He messed that up. Come on, you want to lay down? Where you want me to lay, on your couch or on your bed? Like, I need a massage. You know what I mean? I put a little tense up in here. Get in there, try to get your feelings, and then want to massage you to relax you.
That massage is doing big things.
Being a friend, just being a friend. That's it. And he was gonna cut it off.
That's a therapeutic aid right there, right? That's all it is, right?
It is.
It's a therapeutic set of hands.
Yep.
So you guys finally did, sign, and you guys started, doing tours and stuff. At what moment did you know? Besides, because clearly you guys knew that you didn't get booed in college. That's fame. Because I'm right here like now, like I'm already famous. I don't know.
We was in fight mode that night. We weren't even thinking like I just felt like if you escaped from the police or something, like you jumped that fence and the dude was jumping the fence after you and you got away, like you know what I'm saying. You might not even got away with the merchandise. You just got away from the. That's how I feel about that crowd. Like we got away. Like, so I was thinking like stars. That was the first thing. We got away that night. You know what I'm saying?
So when did you know that at what moment did you know like, yo, like I'm famous, like this is it, like when you're in a particular city or you on a particular like when did you know like, man, like this is real, like I'm famous?
A lot of people might think it's when we heard our stuff on the radio. That wasn't really the part, because we, in our naivety, we thought we was going to have that. We thought it was supposed to get on the radio because it was a nice song. In our naivety, we thought it worked like that. And it ended up working like that. But what really happened was, like, as soon as we signed, our record label put us overseas. BMG is like the sister to MCA, like over there in Britain and all that. And I think they like the parent of RCA too or something like that. That's the parent, like big boy.
That's the mama and the daddy, right?
Yeah. So we go over there and we put us on a promotional tour immediately overseas. So as our song is percolating over here in America without a video, just the song blowing up on radio, getting played every station at the same, like 30 times a day. Like, we're not here to experience that. We in Europe somewhere while that's happening. So nobody out here is seeing us at all. Nobody don't really know what we look like yet. They just know that song. They love it. They might think it's Boys and Men at this point. They, it's another acapella. Is that Boys and Men? You know what I'm saying? Like, we knew on the scene with the acapella, the last one they heard was
a video in the 90s. That's terrible.
Wow. We hadn't done it yet. That's how, like,
I'm saying,
yeah, just got signed, and that song was already on the radio because of us before the label even got to it. So it had a little momentum already before we even signed. And we signed, and the label started working it, and it was blowing up, and they sent us overseas immediately. So we was doing a promotion tour. When we came back from the promotional tour, we were going to shoot the video. So when we were on promotional tour overseas, Britain, Europe, all over the place. Now we catching fire over there, but because that's not where we're from, it's like I can't gauge. Like, do they act like this to everybody? I can't really gauge. But it was over there to them, like, we was like ridiculous. But it was just like, it didn't feel. It was so surreal. I didn't. That one didn't count to me. Not that it didn't count, but I just didn't take it the same way.
Right.
We were in foreign land. If I don't know what that was. I couldn't gauge that. But then when we got back to the United States, the first place we hit was New York, and we had a performance. It was promotional. And then they told us we were performing in the mall. So I felt like that was some small time, like a mall.
Right, after I just get in.
You just came from overseas.
It ain't even nighttime. It's like a daytime thing. It was a promotional thing. So, but when we get there, get to New York in this mall, we think we just gonna just be there singing, and people walking around happen to notice us. That you know how the malls be. Well, the mall. This particular mall was like 6 stories, and it's like the way it was designed was like NBC Suites, where you can look over the banister on all the floors and see straight down. Yeah. It was like that, and we was all the way at the bottom. And when I tell you, it was like 20,000 people in all them banisters looking down. Like, they was there for that. It was in the mall, but they was there for the show. It was like, what? And when we rock, and this is New York, they don't like nobody, like, right?
Right.
So we did our thing. And it was like overwhelming, like just I couldn't even feel my heartbeat. Like, it was just like crowd explosion. And then when we left out, we got swarmed like Justin Bieber or somebody would get. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this? And then they had to whisk us and throw us in the limo and almost protect us or something, and drive off all quick and all that. And I was like, are we large?
You famous now.
Wait a minute. Are we famous?
That's New York. New York don't get excited for nothing, nobody. And if they do, they'll never let you kind of know. Like, you like, yo, that's dope, dude.
They tough, right? They are.
Like legends come out of New York, so they see it. Just like LA. The LA don't never turn up at no industry parties and nothing either. They just be sitting there watching you like, okay, we seen it all. But other places like Cleveland, they love music. But New York, you know what I'm saying? We was getting that love and we were young. That was the world because I understood. And the golden era of hip hop was right there too. And so quality music was coming out of New York, period, in terms of trend setting and stuff like that. So their ear in terms of what they had a taste for and what was considered dope, you had to be dope to really be appreciated as dope. And if they was giving us love like that, they must have really felt we was dope. And I understood that dynamic because my best homie, Earl on Urban Wall Street, he was from the Bronx. I used to always be in New York with him during that time. And the flavor and the feel and the vibe, you really get to see what make them tick and move. And they taste set in terms of the music scene back then, especially. And we was blowing up there. That let me know. When I went back to the hotel room, I was like, yo, on some real, on God, I think we blew up.
Right.
Why somebody say you guys were Justin Bieber famous?
You know what I'm saying? Hey, because Justin, say what you say, but that boy he's something else.
Somebody said we saw y'all on BET and the radio. Y'all was popping. And then somebody said the next teacher says, "Am I large?"
Yeah, that's the next shirt.
I'm definitely. We always coin something. Am I large or Justin Bieber famous? I like hashtag Justin Bieber famous. Right across.
Look. Look, it's on that same line of what did Eric say? Hot trash. Hashtag hot trash.
And so we hashtag that and put that on the shirt because he was like, if you messing with a man and he hot trash, we like this hot trash. We just gonna throw that out there. So
potential.
Hot trash can go so many ways. That's a slippery slope right there, boy.
No, yeah, we had a whole conversation about that. Like,
hot trash is a whole woo.
We just threw
hot
it out
trash
there like,
turned into hot garbage. Remember?
Hot trash, hot garbage. Hot garbage.
Yes,
yeah.
That's how I went down. We were in New York, and that's when I was like, yo, I think we really. And then when I really, 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 really knew is they had booked something for us in France, right? Our label was always trying to make us be so pop, they forget obligations in America. So we in France doing like the equivalent to the Grammys over there. Peebo Bryson all fly with the purple tux on with his singers, and then Shai with some Carl Kanai hoodies, all right. So they was like, we get this phone call like, yo, y'all supposed to be in New York for the I'm gonna tell you what it was. Actually, I'm gonna tell you what it was. But we were supposed to be in New York for this event, like in 6 hours, and we was in France. So they got us on this jet called the Concorde. It's out of business now, but the Concorde was like a supersonic jet, and each seat was like 9 racks per person. Every seat was first class through the whole, and it goes up to like 60,000 feet or something crazy, and then comes straight down, and it goes like a fighter jet, like it's like 2-3 times the speed of sound or something crazy. It got us there in 3 hours. Put like that, it gets you from France to New York in 3 hours.
Damn.
That's how. And then the whole flight. When you first get on the plane, right? They hand you this leather book with twine, binding it, and you happen to look on the leather book, and your name is branded into that mug. Garfield.
What?
Bright. Like you open up the book, and it's a menu like yay thick. And it's like gourmet chefs on there going up and down the aisle with flames, like in the restaurant with the flame stuff. They cooking it in front of you, sizzling. It's just like the liquor.
That would have been my moment. I thought I was famous.
Look, they get you drunk as a skunk on the first hour of the flight, and then they just turn the lights off because everybody full and drunk, and you can get as much of whatever you ordered as you want. They'll go make it like whatever. It's real gourmet food, and the drink is just ridiculous. They got us all messed up. And then you wake up and you're in New York an hour and a half later. So so that I kind of felt like I made it on that, but then the top of it all,
that's
the event that we were going to that we were going to miss because of how they booked us was the very, very, very first, the pilot for MTV Unplugged. Remember MTV Unplugged?
What?
Every first one, the pilot episode is Shai, Tony, and Tupac. And
What?
yeah, you can go YouTube it up and stuff like that. And that's what we flew back there for, to do the pilot of this thing MTV had just come up.
Y'all in the building.
Yep, we was in the building.
9 racks per person.
That let me know. I got to meet Pac for the first time. You lock elbows with Raphael Sadiq, another guy I look up to, and all that at one time. Getting off that was like a moment of like, yo, I'm one of them. I'm part of that. What's up, Pac? What's up, Ralph? What I'm saying?
That's amazing. Like
that's dope.
That flight would have been it for me. I'm like, y'all can't.
Look right there, the flight.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all can't tell me shit. I'm famous.
That kind of like made me feel some way. Like that was like one of the first moments I felt like, oh, okay.
How many people can say they went from France to New York in 3 goddamn hours? Go ahead.
Yeah. 3 hours.
I'll wait.
You could feel that moment.
I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me that they did that shit. Because if you did, you famous too. Can I get your autograph?
That was the ultimate.
Look, and you got an engraved menu.
You had that thing. It's like they branded your name into it and they handed it to you at the door as you come in.
You still got it, right?
I still have it. Yes, I do.
Absolutely. Listen, did you frame it? Is it in one of them nice cabinets that don't nobody touch?
Nah, well, I probably should do something like that because me and
okay. Since we going into that, do you have a cabinet like that with all your?
I gave all my stuff to my mom. My mom
got your mom have all it? Like your mom has a room where she just?
Well, my mom and my dad. Like I split all my platinum plaques and all that between them, and then I think my dad, I gave him the Image Award. We got the Image Award from the NAACP. I took that like that. Nice. I was mad at NAACP because I was happy we won, but then they only had one trophy. Like it's y'all gonna do y'all can't just make it.
I would just keep it at my house. So who was Devo?
To share it.
Look, I was so turned up about the situation, ready to go to war, whatever. They was like, "Gee, you can keep it." I was like, "All right." I ended up keeping it, man. I got that award. But,
that don't make no sense. Like, y'all know how to count, right?
You win the award, you expect to get everybody get a piece of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna just keep it over at my house.
Oh yeah, I just kept it.
Just for a week.
But my dad got it. My pops and my moms have all my stuff. Like,
that's good.
That's nice. But how did you guys come up with the?
Huh?
I'm glad you still got that.
How did you guys come up with the name?
Oh, well, Shai. Okay, so like I mentioned, the other 3 guys were Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity members, and they were steeped in Egyptology. Like the Sphinx men is like the neophytes that go online. They really modeled after Egyptian mystery systems in a lot of ways. So Mark, the guy in the group that played together forever the piano part and just is dope. He was pledging one of the people under him that he pledged. He named him the word Shai because it comes from the Egyptian book of coming forth by day.
Right, yeah.
People know it as the Egyptian book of the dead. And Shai is a concept in there that means literally destiny in human form, but it's the male aspect because the feminine
destiny in human form.
Yeah, the personification of destiny or destiny in human form.
Yeah, the book of the dead.
But it's the masculine aspect of it because the feminine aspect is fate in human form. Her name is Renanet. And together, destiny and fate weave like your future, which those destiny is, but in this female male, they always did that. So we took the masculine aspect because Mark named one of the guys that was he pledged, he named him Shai. And we realized the name was special. And then we, thought about it, and Mark was like, yo, why don't we, cop that name for ourselves? Like destiny in human form. That's kind of like what we represent. Like
that's really dope.
The way we came together organically like that, the way I ended up falling in the group, and we didn't have any precursor to find out what kind of chemistry we would have vocally. We just kind of landed together, and lo and behold, it kind of worked really nicely, just organically.
Right. Like, absolutely. Like, hey, I get it. Like that is a dope way to come up with a good name.
That's how that came about.
That's awesome. And someone wants to know,
it was real organic.
This is an awesome interview. Yeah, we know it's awesome. I'm just kidding.
That was Phoenicia.
Someone says, any reunion chances? And then they thought that the destiny in human form was pretty dope. So they want to know about reunion. Like, do you guys tour anymore? What do you guys do?
Yeah, we do shows all the time, but it's not the original. Huh? What happened?
I said they buying front seat tickets.
That was Phoenicia.
Speaking of tickets,
Phoenicia says she buying front seat tickets.
So speaking of tickets, when you do go to Phoenix, because that's where I'm at, or LA,
Phoenix?
I'm in Phoenix, or if you go to California and LA, or you come to Phoenix, I'm gonna need them backstage passes. Remember
I got you. You know, I got you. That's not even. Say less.
Okay, I'm not gonna say no more. Now go ahead and tell us what we're doing. Okay, after the other outside backup, what are you guys doing? What are you doing now? Like, tell us what's going on with you.
All right. Well, Shai, we still do shows frequently. Well, the COVID whole stop the world thing kind of like swept the rug out from under us. But before then, we never stopped doing shows. You know, Mark and Carl are no longer actually in the group, but Darnell and myself are. And the two other members we added weren't like some new guys. Like one of them was from the group Riff, who joined the group Men of Vision, where the other guy also comes from. And then we put both of them, G Fly and Dwayne, are with us. But Darnell been knowing Dwayne since he was a little boy.
You guys know each other. You just y'all didn't audition like
we already, you know, all of them toured the world without us too. You know, it's just so all our experiences are pretty much
work.
We didn't really have to. Yeah, we were just a total neat conversion. And so, but yeah, we've been doing a lot of shows with this dude, dope promoter, Young Fly Entertainment. And it's been like
somebody just asked that. They just asked like, who do you book?
Yeah, that's who's been like. Well, we don't necessarily go through that person, but that person just happened to keep booking us for shows. It's a lineup that's kind of cool. That it's like it'll be Shai. It'll be what's my man Phil RL and them next. It'll be Cut Clothes. It'll be Adina Howard some nights. It'll be H-Town, it'll be some night, or John B or Avant. Then Jagged Edge sometimes will be on there. It'll be like that kind of a lineup. And it's always
you just said on there, like we trying to get everybody.
And then the boys be blowing, the boys be singing their butts off.
Right, absolutely.
And it's always a good time. It's always a good time. So we do that. We've been doing a lot of those per month for the past couple of years now. And everything. We're supposed to start back up in July, August, or something like that, but it depends on when people open back up, you know, and everything.
Open back up. You got
the last show that we were supposed to do, the one that got canceled, was in Minneapolis. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow!
Yeah, like the crazy situation. But for me,
it worked out.
Oh, but Darnell and I, we getting ready to start a podcast, and we had a long talk today about the logistics and stuff. It's gonna come out of Charlotte, and be on the lookout for that. We're gonna do a few things with this podcast.
And then you guys put it up, like where can everybody, like everything that you guys are doing?
Well, yeah, this is the Chiroglyphics. We find it updated on as we get closer to it. Chiroglyphics, F book, huh?
Say it again.
Oh, Chiroglyphics. Is our Facebook and Instagram for Shai. Chiroglyphics is it? You know, Shai SHAI, and then Roglyphics ROGLYPHICS. You know.
Ooh, okay. You know, you did. So earlier you said that you kind of fell into Shai. So was that something you wanted to do or no?
Oh, I never grew up aspiring to be no singer or anything like that.
What was your college major?
I was a political science. I was actually so I worked on Capitol Hill for the Senate Judiciary Committee. That's how I know Joe Biden from way back in them days when he was just on the Senate Judiciary Committee. When it was a black judge named Judge Alcee Hastings that they were trying to railroad, and my job was to take notes at the Senate Judiciary Committee hearings, those briefs, and then give them to the main staff so they can break it down and debrief the congressman who was the chair of the thing. And so
you basically always been a people person. You just did.
I used to eat lunch with the Congressional Black Caucus. I was a political science. So at Howard, I ran for Howard University student body president. I was a liberal arts student council vice president. We had like a big $50,000 budget. And I was active on campus politically a lot. I was in the Nation and stuff like that. You know, we were trying to shut down, you know, the whole crack scene in DC at a time when the crack era was wild. So we were trying to clean up the projects a little bit. And it was I went through I saw a lot of stuff when I was in DC those 4 years and everything. And then
that's cool. And you ended up giving us some of the greatest music of all time.
Yeah. I mean, Darnell was just my homeboy, and like I was faced with a situation because my dad, I was trying to like find ways to stay in school. So the only way I felt like I could have a chance was to make a 4.0 and get a trustee scholarship appeal to them. So I made the 4.0 the first time in my life in college. I pulled out a 4.0 in a intense. I took 21 units that semester too. And but they didn't give me the trustee scholarship. So I was still out, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But that's that's how I came into Shai's through that. I started hanging back out with Darnell during that time when I couldn't go to class no more, but I still had a dorm to go lay my head at and everything, all that.
But you wanted to be in the R&B group.
Nah, never
wanted to stay.
Nothing like that. I never had no. I sung all the time only because I just like, if I couldn't hear my song on the radio, I was gonna sing it so I can satisfy that muscle, like so I can hear the song. I'll sing it to myself.
Out in the hallway, girls. You already said
a couple of girls told me, had a nice voice. You like that? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like.
Do you have any church roots? Like, did you sing in the choir? Like, did you sing?
Nah, my upbringing was different. Like, we were more jazz on Sundays and gospel. Like, I grew up listening to like Sarah Vaughan, Billy Eckstein, John.
So when did you know you could sing? Like, when did you was like, damn, I can sing?
A couple of girls told me I thought I might have a shot at it.
Of course they did.
Of course it was a girl.
And I started realizing certain things that was what I couldn't. I was trying to find out what was appealing about my voice. Like, hearing yourself sing and then hearing yourself on a mic for the first time was so weird. Like, that's me. And then I finally figured out certain tonal things that might sound good, and I started going into it more and more. It was crazy because I had just started singing when we got signed, and next thing I know, like tomorrow we on Arsenio Hall singing Comforter. I'm like, wow! In front of all these people, I'm just now getting into the singing thing. Like I wasn't growing up aspiring to do all that. Like I just got into it, and Darnell liked the way my voice sounded, and I felt like
it's absolutely beautiful.
And I just tried to get better. Like my only job to me was to master those crazy harmonies them dudes assigned me at that time. Like all them, because we floated and did a lot of like minors and different things, and just to come into singing, doing that, and then singing some lead Comforter. I didn't even tell you about Comforter. Like, okay, so they back then when they had 2-inch, they had reels. They didn't have digital. It was like slave. You had a slave that they put on, and a slave in the master. That's crazy.
Right.
But I was laid out on the couch. It was like 11:30 at night. We had a studio booked to like maybe like 12. I think we had to get an extension that night to like 2 in the morning because they had been tracking Comforter. And then it was like 11:30. They was like, they woke me up off the couch because they was tracking. I didn't know how to track and all that. So I was sitting there. I drank a couple of Mickeys waiting for them. And I had fell out and they was waking me up. Yo, G, it's time to get on. It's time to sing. Time to get on the mic. My voice is all groggy. That's why in the beginning of the song I go, talk to me, baby. That's the only reason I did that because I didn't want to tell them hold up for a second, but I kind of low key want to kind of clear my throat and to see what my voice was at because I just woke up and I knew it. And I didn't really they threw me on the mic because we was pressed for time in that studio, and it's like, so I was like, damn, I don't even know how I sound right now. I might start singing something crazy come out like. So I was like low key slick, like, okay, I'll just talk, say something, and then test it out. And they kept that.
But it worked. It worked.
That was something I was supposed to just be doing, and they was gonna cut that out once they got to it. Kept that part.
It worked.
Like it absolutely. They were right to cut it out because
I sung
that. Feel like, ooh, he talking to me. Ooh, yeah.
Hey, I sung that half sleep though, to be transparent. Like I wasn't all the way awake yet when I was singing that.
I'm just gonna say that half sleep version of the song got you a lot of followers.
It's history. Look that part.
Question marks. Followers.
Right. We still doing shows. Darnell and I are getting ready to do a podcast coming soon. You'll hear about it come down because we're working out logistics and stuff. I just wrote a fictional book called Lotus 3013. And I just created the audio book, and I have to put a little cinematography to the audio because I just don't want a naked narrative. I want to have like an ambient kind of like tone going underneath certain points of it. I want it to be like, like cinematography. And then Darnell did this called Destiny when we got signed to Big Play Records, us and KRS-One. And that track is this bananas track. And so I'm gonna have pieces of that track going through the book, audio book too. So, but it's like, it's like a hip hop Lord of the Rings first meets Star Wars. It's like, speculative nonfiction, like fantasy.
Oh wow!
In 2013, hip hop is believed to have never been created by Black or Latino sources. It's only thought to be a white invention, and there's a lot of implications behind how it got there. But it's a lot of, but there's definitely a protagonist situation that's going to make make it right. But it's
Right.
interesting.
So
There's
you got to definitely let us know when that
yeah,
comes out.
it's
For
kind of
sure.
and
So one
But
more
also,
question. Somebody
look,
want to know, who is your music idol? Like, who did
oh
you?
man, oh my God, I can't just do one, but in the soul R&B side of things, the big three for me has always been first Stevie, Marvin, and Donnie. Like those three are like man, I can't even imagine how music would have evolved if those people had never been like artists. If it was never no Stevie, ever, none of them lyrics, none of them harmonies, none of
Yeah,
them
you're
melodies.
right.
If it was never no Donnie Hathaway to influence people and then give birth to Layla and different, and if there was never no Marvin
that
with these
part.
chords and that, and it gave birth to El DeBarge and all these other different people who kind of got a Marvin-esque. Just imagine how music would have not been. I can't even
Right.
imagine.
Listen, everybody has their piece of the. Imagine how music would have been if it wasn't in any Shai. You know what I mean? Like,
Look, any Shai, look.
you just can't. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
everybody has their purpose in the timeline.
Yeah, that's real spit.
Of music, and if we didn't have you guys, we wouldn't be here talking about how, you know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure some of those songs got people through. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
Stuff.
a lot of people. It wasn't the biggest hit or nothing from us, but for some reason, the most emotional kind of song was "Place Where You Belong," and a lot of people were kind of like really
That song.
You can tell us about that.
I was listening to that this morning. I was like, oh yeah, that's from the Beverly Hills soundtrack.
Soundtrack.
And you never know where that's gonna come from, and you know what I mean. Even when we've had other artists on here, they talk about it, and people always say, "Man, that song saved me," or "That song got me through this," or "That song did this," and it's just those random little things that you guys, I'm sure on a large scale, but to them on that scale, like, it's everything. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, I've got artists like that too. Like my favorite jazz artist, vocally female, is Sarah Vaughan, and then male is this dude named Johnny Hartman. He did a lot of stuff with John Coltrane, but his voice is par excellence. And in groups, you got Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Man, say it again.
And a lot like we were into Egyptology just like how they were into Egyptology. Yep. So we kind of like, in a lot of our harmonies, like it's a song we got called During the Storm on Blackface. We kind of like, that was the Earth, Wind, and Fire influence and stuff like that, like heavily. And Frankie Beverly and Mays, of course, those kinds of groups in school. But Sly and the Family Stone, and in Parliament Funkadelic, and in Bootsy, and that kind of stuff, like, was a main part of our makeup too. Like, and then of course hip hop. We were hip hop heads, so the Woo, the RZA, with Nas, Buckshot, Shorty, DJ Premier, saying, Pete Rock, just all those Nas them back in the day, just that whole Eric Sermon and them, like with the beats, and Keith Murray and the Redman and all that kind of stuff. As we were coming up, those kind of beats and grooves and that kind of soulful funk and that kind of vibe to be in as we create our shot stuff.
We literally lived hip hop. So what would you say to anyone trying to get into this business of R&B? What advice would you give a young up and coming, artist?
At the end of the day, no matter what else I say, and that rhyme, it's gonna always come back down.
Really? You just gonna stop like that, Ron? Like, okay.
Yeah, I just heard myself. My bad. It's gonna always come down to the product. Make sure what you're doing is dope. Just make sure that's dope, and make sure it's honest. It's coming from really like who you actually are.
Authentic.
Like
so basically stand behind your product.
Yeah, because when you get old, you can still perform it because it was actually really you. It wasn't like some gimmicky thing that you were just kind of good at, and you did it because you knew people like to hear that, and you did one of those. Authentic. And they caught on, and then you get old, you can't really do that one no more. But if you come out with just something that's really just you from the soul, you can ride that. And this riffing and this more because it's really you. And then also, on top of all that, own your masters, or do it yourself. Like, you got social media, you have direct links to the audience. It's better to be, like, have a core following. You don't have to be necessarily famous, but your pockets can still look good, and you can keep your integrity just by being authentic and having a following that just only get that thing from you. And like a good example of that to me is like a Eric Roberson, like a Dwayne.
Right. Oh yeah.
Those cats, I'm waiting for them to come out. Like, little known fact, like Eric Roberson. Okay, so I used to tell you that in Howard, around 6:00, 5:00, 4:00 p.m., we used to go down into the fine arts building in the bottom level. They had all these cubicle rooms. Each one of them had like padded rooms with a piano in it. And it was for people from fine arts to go practice their horn or beat on their drums in there and nobody could hear. Well, we used to lock ourselves in one of them and do our vocals. But in another one around the corner on that same floor will be Eric Roberson. So when we do all finished,
he's dope.
Back up to the top at nighttime before we go home, and us and Eric Roberson be talking, before we was even signed. Eric Roberson got signed through our manager, Carl Martin's brother. Was Eric Roberson's first manager with MCA. He got signed with Back to the Moon, that single. With MCA, he came in kind of like with us and everything. And then he was one of the only dudes that don't have to do a demo ever, because he can sit there and sing to you in person, and you'll get the song that he's trying. You don't need to go to the studio. He was one of the few people that, and because of that, he was selling songs so fast at a young age and making ASCAP money, like BMI money, because he could just articulate songs like me and you talking right now. And so the boy,
he did it. He did it on the show.
Yeah, he did.
He did a Hot Trash song.
He did a song called Hot Trash.
And he'll tell you, if you ever get to ask him, tell him Garfield, because I've been on him like this for like 20-some years about this one song. But it was his grandmother that passed away, and he wrote a song about the whole scene of her passing, how he got the news, how he was feeling, the metacognitive, like what he was thinking, how I miss you. Yeah, you got to hear him sing, of course. Like ridiculous. But yo, it's the most beautiful. It'll make you cry, man. And he won't put that on the album because it was like too special for him. But I understood that. But it was so beautiful. I just wanted other people to feel that. I heard him sing it.
Eric's
but artists like that.
So look. So we also gotta say congratulations to you because you have your PhD.
Thank you.
Doctor.
So congratulations.
Right in the building.
Doctor Garfield.
Yeah, right. Education.
You're a doctor in political science. What are you a doctor?
No. Well, I went on after the political science undergrad to get a master's in African American studies, and I did my thesis. I had to do a master's thesis on, and mine was trying to find locate a common center, like what actually is African-centered education in practice. You hear African-centered, but what is it? And so I was looking for that sweet spot to let me know kind of the essence of it. That was my master's work, and then for my doctoral work, I did a dissertation. My major was educational policy studies, and my dissertation was looking at how Black males navigated inequitable power spaces. Two places I looked at for that dynamic was Black males situated in classrooms, how they deal with that dynamic of power distribution not being in their favor and still being a Black male, how they navigate that. And then the other one was a Black male in the record industry. And so I basically talked about those are both two parts of myself, that student in spaces, as a Black male, and then an artist navigating this landscape of a music industry and a record label.
You had an inside.
Yeah.
Well,
I did my data collection was based on interviews. So in my dissertation, the interviews I did was I did my man. I did Killer Mike first, but I couldn't get him to commit to all 4 interviews, so I couldn't finish them. But I ended up landing on I had to do a Talib Kweli for a pilot part where I consulted him about if you speak out against your label, would it cause harm? Because you have to talk about that before you start your research. And I couldn't do it myself. Artist, I had to go on record asking another professional just to show the bias that might be committing. So I had to use them in that way. But then I used Derek Angeletti, who was D-Dot, who helped produce for Biggie what's the joint there? Not Hypnotized, but the other joint, the other big joint that Biggie did. I can't even think of the Crazy Beat. Not Hypnotized, but Biggie. Anyway, I'll come back to that. But D-Dot, he was also the mad rapper. He was the mad rapper. He used to work for Puff, be with Puffy, in that camp and all that. You see him on all kind of shows. But Derek Angeletti, serious. He was also a business. What do you call the people who run label, who are on labels that run that executive. He was an executive label executive. On label, yeah. And then from there, I got Tracy Lee, who went to Howard. Both of those guys went to Howard. Tracy Lee,
yeah.
And Lee he signed the MCA back in the day. He had this song called Party Time that blew way up. He had interesting story. But and everywhere that my crew going. Lee, he had an interesting experience too in there. And then my man it's funny because I killed the MC was in this group called Jurassic 5 from the West Coast, and that's why him, Charlie Tune, and all them. And J5 I had I killed. And a lot of people on the internet they got this whole thing that they think I killed is Tupac. I'm like, are you serious? And he can't, no matter what he says, they won't believe him. They really they like, yo, I killed is actually Tupac. Tupac came back and under our noses and what we think is our killed. And I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, that's J5.
They don't know, they don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but yeah, those are the 3 guys I interviewed for my dissertation, and how they navigated the power, and you know.
That sounds really dope. I can't lie. That sounds like a lot of people should be able to look at that. And
yeah, because you can view it, right? Like,
still get a lot of knowledge from what you're saying as a Black man. Period. Like, I think that would be awesome.
The kind of ingredients in that, without it being so scholarly, is what the podcast that me and Darnell is going to be based on.
Okay.
The
podcast is going to be okay.
You're gonna bring artists like how they, bringing artists to do instead of doing a show. These same artists that would normally be doing shows from the '90s, we're gonna sit them down and kick it about these experiences, so they get to hear real stories about that.
So you trying to do us on the podcast?
Are you trying to do what we doing?
You trying to do
no. But it's gonna be within the same because there was four. My dissertation, I found that there were 4 phases that the students and the artists all go through, and in those 4 phases is going to be like the parameters that I interviewed them through. Like,
don't try to take it back. You just stole our idea.
So you trying to clean it up?
Like, nah, you stole it.
Okay, so wait.
We'll let you borrow.
So somebody in the group. Wait, hold on. Tim in the group. He said Grumptown. What is that? You know anything about Grumptown?
You said tell them group.
Timothy. What? He said Grumptown. Do you know anything about that?
How you spell that? Grumptown.
Gumptown.
Oh, Grumptown. That's Montgomery. That's Montgomery, Alabama. That's the nickname for they call it the Gump. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because he said something about like the church and the choir. Like he was in a choir out there or something. The first church choir in Gump.
Oh, well, kind of. Like back then. Like, I think it's who I'm thinking about. He was a serious musician. That cat. Like I was just, saying back in those days. There's probably some girls in the choir or something I was trying to holler at or something.
See, look.
I mean,
how can I get some pussy? Put it on the track.
Not even that. I just had crushes back in the day. When I was younger, I was too young. I wasn't even, active yet. I just had crushes on girls.
You wasn't active yet.
In Sunday school, I'll be looking at girls.
Okay, but look, we not gonna go into all of that. Look, we've already taken up enough of your time. We appreciate you coming on the show.
Even though you stole our idea, we're gonna let you borrow it.
I have no
Definitely appreciate you.
I got you.
Backstage passes.
When we do a show, I got you. 100 grand. I got you.
Hey, you ain't. Hey, you can't get her. We a group here. It's me and her. We both.
That was implied right there. That was all implied.
She can't go without me.
Right.
Y'all are ridiculous, man. I just want y'all to know.
Definitely thank you for coming through. This was a great show. It was just like being in the same room with you, just chopping it up. I can't wait for your podcast because I like this kind of feel where you can just be cool and it's nothing.
Like that too.
With that. But definitely
keep us posted.
Everybody follow him on Shiroglyphics.com.
Yeah. And me, my personal one is the Garfield Bride Experience on Instagram.
Bride Experience.
The Garfield Bride.
Yeah, we'll post it. We'll put it all in the group.
Definitely post it.
Oh yeah, I got some music coming out, a solo thing.
We just skipped all over your stuff. We didn't ask you. Okay, go ahead. Say what it is.
I have some music coming out soon. I'm still working on finishing some pieces and stuff like that. But I said it was gonna be out by now, but I found I got some more music material to work through. So I got to get that out.
Okay, so when you done with the solo stuff, you're gonna come back through and bless us with the solo joints, right?
I'm already here. I already got an idea what the single's gonna be, but I'm gonna wait till I record these other ones to see how they come out.
And then we're gonna have you back and be like, yo, he's back to do his #1 album, #1 record. He's about to sing. We ain't even gonna talk. You just gonna sing. Kidding.
He's just gonna sing.
All right. Speaking of singing, on the way out, if you could bless these very nice people that spent their time with us and just a little harmony, just a little bit of comforter to take us out.
A little something.
Again, we appreciate you coming through, and we'll see you next time.
Lay down and tell me what's on your mind. What exactly did he do to make you cry this time? I will be a comforter. I will make it right. Cast a shadow on your heart, and I will bring back your light.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you, Garfield.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Enjoyed y'all.
All right. Peace. All right. That was awesome.
That was an awesome show as usual. We hope everybody enjoyed that. It was a great show. Like I love the feeling of the show always and forever. Let me answer this one question for everybody that watches us all the time. I am not high. Okay? This is I wear glasses, but the reflection of the light, I don't like it, so I don't wear my glasses. Yes, I can see.
Who asked that?
High. Man,
somebody asked that?
So many people ask me, am I high when they watch this show? I'm like, let me address, I'm not high. Goodness gracious. Anyway, but no, we thank you guys for coming out. Every show is like this, so we always say, if you know anybody that wants to, watch the show, you think they might like it, add them to the group, tell them to search us, you know what I mean? Follow us on everything. Be sure if you're in the group, you already know what's coming on Tuesday. We got that Tuesday special with
definitely.
Yvonne.
Now wait. Remember, it's 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's in the evening.
Standard Time.
It's in the evening.
It's at night. Which is a special because we can only get them on Tuesday, so we took what we can. So we're gonna interview Yvonne on Tuesday,
that, and also because it's BET weekend. So they're doing stuff, So stuff's happening next week for BET.
We got lucky. And y'all tune in and watch us with Yvonne. Again, that is Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And like I said, if you watch this show, you like it, you're going to like that show too.
All right. So we'll see you guys
Thank y'all for coming
Tuesday.
Out.
And then if we don't see you on Tuesday, we'll see you on Sunday.
We definitely going to see you on Sunday at 1 o'clock.
All right.
All right.
That part. Peace.
Bye, y'all.